Okay, we do have some shout outs and some questions tonight. Let me go to those. Here we go. Ginger Golden. Is that your real name, Ginger? Because that's an awesome name. Ginger Golden. Amy Smith. We know Amy Smith. Greg Witten. Abbey Road. Abbey Road. Really? I believe you. Tony Walker. Savannah Thomas. Katrina Raven. And I met a wonderful lady today outside the courthouse who gave me a birthday card. I want to shout you out too. I'm sorry I forgot your name and I could pull up the card. I have it here. So nice to meet you. I swear, we have the best audience ever. And I just wish that everyone could feel all of this love. And I know it's not about me. I hope that it doesn't appear that it's about me, but I really appreciate your support. We have people watching in Orlando, in Howey in the Hills, Florida. Just above Orlando? Howey in the Hills? Is that really what it's called? Or are you Howey and you're in the hills? That's the question. Indonesia, Germany, Australia, London, Connecticut, Ohio, Denmark, Arkansas, Cape Town, South Africa, and Michigan. Amazing. Amazing that you all are watching this nerd in Arizona, soon to be Idaho. Let's go with some questions. Carol, was Lori charged with Social Security Administration fraud? She was not. Well, she was in Idaho. She was not here. But in Idaho, she was, what was the actual charge? It wasn't Social Security fraud. It was grand theft by deception, I believe. And then Chad was charged with insurance fraud, both found guilty. And that was for the money they were using on their children and their spouse. Cindy says, I started watching you when your newsfeed popped up on my YouTube videos right before you went to Hawaii to confront Lori. In fact, it might have been that video saying you were going to Hawaii. How did you actually get the tip? How did you start doing this story? Good question, Cindy. It was right before Christmas, the Friday before Christmas. We got a news release. Let me back up. I had heard several weeks before a source that I know, I trust, called and said, there's something crazy happening in Rexburg. It's going to come out. Just wait for it. And I'm like, oh, like a drug bust? He's like, no. And then someone else messaged me and said, have you heard about Tammy Daybell and her death? And I'm like, who's Tammy Daybell? And I pull up her obituary and they said, that was that. Like, that was it. Friday before Christmas, I'm out doing some Secret Santa surprises with our staff when I get a call from my colleague, Nate. And he says, dude, we just got a really weird news release from Rexburg Police about 2 missing kids. I'm like, what? Get it up. Post it. Missing kid. That's huge. He's like, this one's weird, though. Like, it's 2 pages. The parents aren't cooperating. They're on the run. I'm like, what? And the story just grew 15 legs that second and just took off on a marathon sprint. We had an intern working with us. You might remember Eric Grossarth, great guy. He started digging into info that night on the internet. I went to a concert that night with my kids. They were in a children's choir concert in Rexburg, and everybody on the auditorium was talking about these missing kids and their parents. And then the next day, we got word that the police actually released pictures of the parents, and we posted those. And then I think within like 3 hours, we knew that, from when the kids vanished, that Lori Vallow's husband was shot and killed in Arizona. Her brother had died the week before. Tammy Daybell was dead in October, and that these parents, no one knew where they were, at least publicly. The police, I think, knew they were in Hawaii. And we're learning this bit by bit. Like, you'll never guess her husband was killed. You'll never guess her brother died last week. You'll never guess Tammy Daybell, like one thing after another. Christmas was kind of slow in the news. I took some time off waiting to see what would happen. And then the new year came, and I think January 2nd, we met as a team. And I'm like, we really got to go in on this story. We got to go like all in and figure out. I went up to Fremont County, interviewed the sheriff, went to the house, did all that stuff. And then somebody sent us a tip as to where they were, Chad and Lori. And we didn't know how reliable and strong the tip was. And so we went to Hawaii, long story short. And we used you guys, the public, I kid you not. We were getting tips left and right as to Lori and Chad's whereabouts. They could not go anywhere. They couldn't go to Costco, get on a plane. Every place they went, we were getting tips until they were arrested. So really, you all are the sleuths that help me do my job. Donna asks, who's paying for Lori's legal team? The taxpayers are. They're public defense. They're with the Defense Department, the Maricopa County Defense Unit. So she doesn't have to pay for them. She doesn't have any money, but the public is. Why did Summer tell Lori what Adam was doing? I missed that story. It sounds awful. Then I remember you interviewing her and she was so sweet, when in reality, I just guess I'm confused, Amber says. That's a great question, Amber. I've reached out to Summer to see if she would be willing to do an interview to kind of speak about these things, because obviously they're things we hadn't heard before. I would imagine Lori was lying to the whole family, but I hope to talk to Summer, and maybe next week after the verdict comes in, and I'll share it here with you, and I will ask you a question, Amber. Ginger says, regarding the Lori Vallow Daybell case, if Lori was to testify, does the prosecution have to submit questions they're going to ask her before so she can prepare? Is and what is the prosecution allowed to ask? No, they don't have to submit questions. Whatever, so the defense would go first. They would ask Lori the questions that she prepares ahead of time, and then the prosecution can follow up on those questions, but they have to stay within the scope. They can't just throw everything in. They have to stay within what the defense asked, those types of questions. And they would not have to pre-submit them to Lori. Rex asks, why isn't Lori referred to as a serial killer? There were more than 3 victims. Well, I guess we'll see if she's found guilty on this one, then it will be 4 victims. But I guess you could call her that. I guess the technical definition is it 2 or more. Can the jury have all the text messages? And I know a lot of you get upset back to that I call her Lori. Honestly, it's for simplicity when reporting, because to call her Daybell, especially during Chad and Lori, when all that was tied together, it just, people were like, well, which Daybell? And then you've got Tammy Daybell, and then you've got the Daybell kids. It just was for simplicity. And in this case, Trina K, normally I would refer to people by their last names, call her K, but then people thought I was talking about Kay Woodcock, and they're like, why is Kay there asking questions? So I switched over to first names just for ease of reporting there, but there is a little bit of confusion. Can the jury have all the text messages when they go to deliberate, not just the text that Trina showed? They can only have what was admitted in evidence, and what was admitted in evidence was what we saw. There may have been some more. I don't know if she showed the whole exhibit, but if it was admitted, if she admitted all the text, they can do that. That would be a lot to admit and a lot for them to go through. But yeah, if she admitted them, they can. Who finally ended up paying for Charles's funeral service? I believe Kay Woodcock did. I'll have to check on that though. Can you put up a poll regarding whether we think the verdict will be based on the testimony that has been given so far? I don't know if we can do a poll on that, Cindy, but I think maybe on Monday after the closing arguments happen, we can maybe do a poll as to what time you think the jury will have a verdict. We'll have to see that. All right, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. Here's where you can find me: Facebook, Insta, Twitter, X, and YouTube. We also have Meeting the Eatons, and I'm thinking about, I need to ask Erica, maybe going live tomorrow night from home with Erica discussing the case. What do you think? Should we do it Friday night, just chit-chatting? We'll see. We might just want to unplug for the weekend, but we might just want to do it. I'll be back Sunday night. We're going to do a everything you need to know before the jury gets the case type of program. And then Monday, back in the courtroom for the big day, closing arguments. It's going to happen at 1 o'clock. The jury is going to get the instructions, I believe, at 10:30 or 11. And then they're going to break for lunch. And then it'll be go straight forward with closing arguments. First the state, then Lori, then the jury gets the case. Everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. Happy Easter. Maybe we'll be back tomorrow. Maybe we won't. Just stay tuned. Subscribe to East Idaho News so you don't miss anything. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.